everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk About It, Brunel. Today's topic was going to be a Black History Month Part 2, but unfortunately our guest speaker couldn't make it with us today. So I have with me Beck here, and we're going to be discussing exercise sports and the pros and cons and how it affects our lives. Would you like to introduce yourself, Beck?
Yes, hi guys, my name is Beck. I'm a Res Life ambassador and I'm a student in Brunel as well. I do mechanical engineering first year.
How's that going?
It's going good.
You enjoying it?
It's fine, a lot of assessments, exams.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, so sports and exercise. Beck, what's your story? What would you say is your favourite sport? When did you get into sports? A little bit of background information.
Well, I think any kind of sports is a good exercise for your body. Mm-hmm. I started with swimming, gymnastics, taekwondo, different kinds of sports when I was young. Then I moved to boxing, and I've been doing boxing for 5-6 years. It was a great experience, but because of the trauma, I had to change my sport. Right. So I started doing calisthenics.
Okay, interesting. So let's go back to when you were younger. You said you did swimming. Yeah. You did, what else was it?
I did swimming, taekwondo, anything that comes to your mind actually. I was switching it so quick.
When did you start doing sports?
When I was 3 years old, I started doing gymnastics.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah.
So what was the inspiration behind that? Who influenced you?
Well, it's not like you're inspired by something and you do gymnastics when you're 3 years old.
No, someone must have made you do that.
I mean, not made you, someone just takes you and brings you to the exercise.
So you didn't want to do it.
Actually, I enjoyed it, but I didn't decide, Yeah. It's just my mother said, it's good for a child to be flexible. And
so did she encourage you to try different sports?
No, after that, like when I was 7-8 years old, I was interested in martial arts. Okay. So I started doing taekwondo, and I was inspired by my father because he's a boxer, and I just enjoy the environment of this, of martial arts, any kind of sports, whether it is taekwondo, boxing, kickboxing, or anything else. Mm-hmm.
Would you say there's a lot of self-discipline then involved in those sports?
Yes, a lot of self-discipline. When you are going through your limits, is it how you say it?
Go on.
When you go through your limits in order to achieve something, you are teaching yourself how to go through challenges, how to put yourself into the position when you're struggling, but you're still keep doing it. You can quit anytime. But you keep doing it because of the self-discipline. Yeah,
so are you saying that when you put the pressure on yourself to come out your comfort zone?
Exactly, yeah.
That's how you grow and become better, essentially.
Yeah, as a person.
Okay. And then, so you said your dad was a boxer.
He also tried different kinds of sports. He was a boxer. He also did sambo when he was younger.
Okay.
But the thing is, he was just saying sports is good for your health. Any kind of sports is good. You just need to enjoy it.
At the same time.
Yeah, you can choose any of them. And there was a quote my grandfather said, something like, any kind of sports is good. Until it becomes a professional sports. Okay. There you can get injuries.
Yeah, and kind of takes the passion away a little bit.
Well, it depends.
Well, if it's your job, if it's your profession, maybe, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second, the pros and the cons. So over the years, obviously you started at a young age. What would you say were the pros for you? The positives.
When I started in younger age.
Because at the same time, you're really young and you're getting into a new routine in terms of school, you're socializing with your friends. So why were sports beneficial for you at that point?
That's an interesting question, and actually there are not only one factor that benefits you when you're doing sports at a younger age, because first of all, it's your physical health. Second of all, as I said, you try to pass your limits and you grow as a person. You learn how to be independent as well. When I was doing boxing, my coach used to say, do all the housework at home. Don't give it to your parents. Don't wash your clothes yourself. Even if you have a washing machine, like wash it with your hands.
Right.
Learn how to do things. You know what I mean? It's like it prepares you to the adult life from a younger age, and I think it's a good thing.
That's true, actually. I didn't think about it like that. And what would you say the cons would be, if there were any cons? The negatives?
Well, I don't think there are negatives if you are enjoying it and if you are doing it right. But I have seen cases when parents give their children to the sports and the children don't enjoy it at all.
Yeah.
But the parents think, oh, it's a good sport. Like maybe in their childhood they wanted to do these sports, but they didn't have a chance. And they're giving their children to this discipline, and the children don't enjoy it at all. And this can be a big issue, because, for example, you want to do football, and your parents say, okay, you do boxing instead.
Yeah.
And if you don't enjoy it, if you don't have passion in it, then you will not succeed in it.
It's true. Growing up, I wanted to play football since I was like a little girl. And my mom actually pushed me to do swimming. And she pushed me to play tennis. And I was awful at tennis. I hated tennis. I couldn't even hit the ball.
Okay.
But I didn't enjoy it at all. It was, for me, I mean, there might be people out there that enjoy tennis. There's nothing wrong with tennis. But I don't find it interesting.
It's not for you.
Yeah, there's no adrenaline rush. There's like, it's just, it wasn't for me. So when I moved to Sri Lanka, because when I lived here at a young age, my mum wasn't very keen on dropping me to football practice or picking me up or any of that. So when I moved to Sri Lanka and I was living with my grandparents, I had the opportunity to do that and essentially the freedom. So that's when I started playing football in the school. And I was actually really good at it, to the point I was a bit, what's the word? I was a bit rebellious. So when my coach would want me to do warm-ups and exercise, I'm not like you. I would say no. My chest would hurt. I would say no. I'm not doing that. So he would let me sit down and then just call me for the games, and I would be a good football player.
That's great.
Yeah, he trusted me enough to not force me to train all the time. But I do agree with you on that. When my parents tried to push me to do different sports that I didn't want to do, I wasn't good at it.
Of course, because you don't want to do it.
No, because I don't want to do it. But how were your parents with you? Were they positive with you? In terms of like, were they encouraging, or was there ever a point where you didn't want to play sports and they understood, or you wanted to change?
Well, my father used to teach me in that way. He wasn't telling me to do anything. He was explaining me why I need to do it.
Yeah.
Then I made a decision myself.
To do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not like you have to do it or you must do it. It was like, if you do it, you will get this.
Yeah. So that's interesting, because I think, I don't want to generalize, but I've had conversations with parents or even other guys as well about sports, and a lot of them are encouraged from a young age to do a lot of exercise and to put a lot of effort into a particular sport to get rid of, how do I explain this? To get rid of the testosterone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when you're growing up, because it's quite high. So usually, I don't know if you know this, but like, for example, there's loads of studies where if a child is displaying a lot of anger in a home, the parent tries to encourage the child to go and play a sport as an outlet, right? Now, I don't know about your experience, but did you ever feel like when you were growing up that sports helped you with that aspect of your life?
Was getting rid of testosterone.
Yeah. Or like, for example, I mean, now, for me, if I'm frustrated or angry or having a bad day, and I go to the gym, and then when I leave the gym, I'm a completely different person.
That's the best experience in sports. Like, that's the best feeling after the hard workout. Like, you feel so relieved.
Outlet.
Yeah, you forget about all the problems.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I was wondering, like growing up, did you ever feel like it benefited you in that aspect?
Of course, yes. It's not like it wasn't the main purpose of me doing the sports, but it was one of the bonuses, especially when you had a lot of homeworks, a lot of pressure in the classroom. I was a very quiet kid. I wasn't talking to anybody.
So you weren't like Hulk?
No, it's just it really helps to to relieve the stress.
Yeah, stress relief.
Yes, stress relief. It helps to stress relief.
Yeah, no, it does. You also said you were a quiet kid. So did you feel like sports was like your passion? Like your main interest?
I had a lot of interests.
Yeah.
Yes.
But do you feel like sports was the way that you really expressed yourself?
Yeah, one of the things in my life, it had a big contribution to my life.
Okay.
I would say like 33% of my life was sports.
That's so different to me because I used to do different sports and quit all the time. Because obviously they weren't the sports that I actually wanted to do. But when I did join the football team, I was committed to it for about 2 years until I came back and joined my sixth form here. So for me, I mean, unlike you, you're very committed, whereas I felt the struggle to balance studying and sports the more further I went with my education. Does that make sense? And then when I came back to university, I think it was in my third year, my final year, where I was like, I need an outlet, but I need a positive outlet. So I started going to the gym again. But I would literally wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and go to the gym, work out, go to my lectures.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, but I would squeeze it in somewhere. And then I would go to campus, write my dissertation, leave campus at like 2, 3, 4 in the morning, go home, sleep, wake up, do it again and again. Because I needed that sort of escape from university studies, exams, deadlines, pressure. And I think if it wasn't for me going to the gym during my third year, I don't know if I would have coped as well.
Well, that's great that you put yourself into this situation, waking up early and going. It's
not easy.
It's not easy at all. Like early in the morning, before the lectures, you have to do something after that. You cannot just go home and take a rest.
It's true. But then how did you manage to cope? Because you carried on.
My style, not in the mornings, it's more in the evenings.
In the evenings?
Yeah, like 7, 8 p.m., something like that.
Okay. So when you came to uni, how did you find it juggling sports as well as your studies?
There are a bunch of societies in Brunel University. I tried to attend some of them, like in a freshers week, to see whether I like it or not. There was a rock climbing sessions, wall climbing sessions, calisthenics, which I enjoyed a lot, and I started being a part of the team. So these are great opportunities for freshers, for students to do sports and also socialize, because you will meet a lot of different interesting characters, and maybe you will be like lifetime long friends with them.
And so how long have you been doing it now?
Calisthenics. I started doing calisthenics like 5-6 years ago, and I'm still doing it.
That's more committed than me.
When did you start doing sports?
I started playing football at a young age. I would say I started at the beginning of high school. That didn't last very long, probably about a year, because my mother wasn't very keen on it. Then I started again when I was 15. That lasted till about 17. And I'm not a very sporty or active child. Like I wasn't a sporty active child growing up. And then when I came to university, I think it didn't bother me as much. I wasn't as keen. I think maybe because growing up I had that pressure to constantly try something or do something. For me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I always associated sport with health and weight. So when I was about 15, 16, I gained a lot of weight at one point. So I looked like a little bit like a mushroom. But and it was because I was doing football and I was trying to eat healthy that I lost a lot of weight. So when I came to university, I didn't see my weight as a problem. So I didn't think about doing a sport. I actually thought about joining the cheerleading team here. Never done cheerleading in my life.
How did it come to
I saw it. I went to a freshers fair and I was like, oh, I might want to do that because I'm quite flexible. And then afterwards I was like, I've never done that in my life. That would be really ridiculous for me to go on the first day. But actually I should have, because you don't know what could have happened, right? So I did. Do you know what? It's funny because I regretted not actually turning up. I did regret that for a few years. So and then that was like in my third year. That's when I started going to the gym. I did that for about 2 years, and I think COVID happened. So obviously when COVID happened, everything went into lockdown. So I couldn't do much. So I started doing like home workouts, but I wasn't as committed. I wasn't as active with it. You know, I would walk my dog. I wasn't there thinking I need exercise or sports. When lockdown was over, I actually started doing dance.
Wow.
Yeah, because again, I was a bit chubby again. But I did pole dancing, so that's like a lot of core strength.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. I did that for about a year and a half. I lost a lot of weight. I toned my body. And I think the only reason I stopped pole dancing was the commitment, because I was paying for lessons, individual lessons, but that was going to Greenwich. So from west to east, that was just a long journey.
Yeah.
I was training at home, but eventually I was like trying to do a master's work, do a podcast, do my placement. It wasn't feasible anymore. So I started going back to the gym. I go to the gym at least a minimum 3 times a week, try to push for 4 when I can. And I can tell you, it is a lot harder to go to the gym after a day of work.
Yeah.
It is exhausting.
Yeah.
It's hard. I'd rather get up in the morning, go to the gym and get over and done with. But it's now in a routine for me. Like I know I will go every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and one day on the weekend. It gets easier that way for me. It builds self-control and self-discipline. Like I watch what I eat. I want to be healthy. I mean, I'm not big, but like at the same time, I don't want to eat junk food because I know it's not good for my heart.
Yeah.
Like it's not all about appearance.
Of course.
So I don't know, it's brought like a different sense of like control in my life as well as an outlet.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I would like to say about that the appearance and just the part of being healthy.
Yeah.
A lot of people start sports because of their appearance. They want to be fit, they want to be strong, they want to be big. But I think the priority should be being healthy in the first place. And after that, like looking fit is just a bonus.
Yeah.
Like you will get there anyway if you are doing sports. But you need to keep in mind that the priority is being healthy. Because if you do, for example, you're doing bodybuilding and you want to look bigger, you start doing steroids, you start doing taking drugs, and it will affect you in a bad way. For example, you know who's Aziz?
No.
Aziz.
No.
You don't know Aziz?
Who's that?
It's one of the biggest fitness influencers.
Right.
He was a bodybuilder, aesthetics.
Yeah.
So he died at a very young age
Oh God.
because of the heart attack. and he used to take steroids, and that was the problem. But he influenced a lot of people, like millions of people around the world, and a lot of children at a young age, they start doing sports because of him as well.
Yeah. I also feel like it's become a trend, not the sport.
Yeah.
I think now it's more trendy for young kids and young adults, like I'm talking like 16, 17, 18-year-olds going to the gym, and it's more for like self-image.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that in my work as well. I've got someone as young as, for example, like a teenager who's interested in going to the gym, which is great if it's for your health, but I think because of social media now having blown up, it's more about images and celebrities and Instagram influencers
to be different in the crowd
and to look a certain way. And I also noticed growing up, the younger generation of like 18-year-olds that do take steroids. You know?
Of course not.
Huh?
Me?
No, not you. No. As in, like, I know. I'm saying I know younger kids that were taking steroids because for them to go to the gym a few months later and you look big.
Of course.
That's not normal. That
that's not normal at all.
Yeah, that doesn't happen overnight.
That's not even natural.
I know it's not. There's no amount of chicken you could be eating that makes you go like boom.
Of course.
But I don't know. What's your opinion on that? I personally haven't tried that.
The steroids?
No.
I think as it's not natural, it doesn't even look good.
Yeah.
Like you look unnatural. You look so big, like a Hulk. Like it's not beautiful. It's not handsome. It's unhealthy first of all, and it's ugly. I think. Yes, because it's not natural. Why would you make your body struggle so much?
Yeah. Just
for your like appearance, just to be bigger?
It's like to fulfill something that's missing in the brain.
It should be. You should work on it rather than trying to look bigger. You should work on your self-confidence then.
But do you think people that take? I mean, I don't know a lot about steroids, but do you think steroids could have an impact on someone's like mental state? Is there anything you know about that, or is it just health?
How? What do you mean?
Like, does it, like, for example, if you take
chemically or?
Yeah, like a brain yeah.
Maybe yeah. I think so because it is responsible for the hormones in your body. So probably yeah, it affects your mental health as well.
That's just made me think about something. Have you ever? It's still on topic. Have you heard about what do you call it? His name, Aaron Hernandez, the American football player.
I haven't heard, no.
Okay, so I don't know, there was another documentary about American football and the amount of times a sports player getting a concussion, for example, and the effects it had on their memory and their health. Oh my God, I can't remember where it was from. It was from Netflix. So they found out, and there was a whole film on it as well. Oh my God, that's going to make me... It's okay. So Will Smith. Have you heard of Will Smith?
Yes.
Okay, he did a movie called Concussion.
Okay.
That's one. But there's also documentaries on Netflix, and they did studies after. I think there was a time period where a lot of NFL players were struggling with mental health and were committing suicide, and they just were acting out of character in terms of like their family life as well. It's quite dark. But what they realized was the amount of times American football players, when they get knocked out and they hit their head and they get a concussion and they get up and play again and carry on, that causes brain damage, essentially. But the NFL did not want to admit that for a long time because if you think about it, it looks bad. Essentially, you're encouraging young boys to play a game that they do love, but you're not providing the medical support they need following that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So even though in America playing American football gives you a way to go into college and it's a great professional job as well, like they make a lot of money, there's also a lot of bad sides in terms of their health, in terms of like their brain and stuff. I found that interesting because I didn't even know that.
Because of the injuries.
Because of the injuries.
Of course.
But I didn't know that because they wear the helmet, so you would assume that they're completely protected.
Still, you have a high risk to get an injury in a professional sport.
I feel like any sport, right?
Really? Any professional sport, except from chess, you can get injuries. I don't know, maybe in chess, like your finger.
With your fingers.
Yeah. Anyway, so professional sport is really harmful. It becomes your job. It's not anymore about your health.
Yeah.
So it's dangerous.
No, it is. I mean, I think I was in the gym last week and I was using the Smith machine.
Yeah.
But I lost my balance.
Oh.
And no one was squatting me, so no one was behind me. So I lost my balance and I was like, right, if I drop this, it's going to hurt more than my back right now.
Oh, shit.
So I had to like power through and put it back up.
Oh, you didn't do that?
Yeah, but I could feel it in the back of my back. I could feel it. I was like, oh.
That's why you need someone to spot you.
I know. And it did hurt for a few days, but I was like, I need to be more careful. But it was worth it.
Yeah. It was worth it.
It was worth it because I carried on working out. But it was a few days of pain.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting because I think with sports, it can be very beneficial in terms of your mental health, in terms of your health. But there's also cons to it if you take it too far.
If it becomes your profession.
Yeah,
you know what Muhammad Ali said, ex-boxing champion. He said, if someone asks me, I'm paraphrasing of course, if someone asks me if it is, should they do boxing or should they do something else, Muhammad Ali said, you should do something else.
Yeah.
Because eventually you get the punch to your head and your brain like starts flexing so much in your head, and it's so bad. It's like becomes a farce in your head.
But I don't know his name. There was a boxer and it was one punch and he knocked out another boxer, but he was put into like a coma and then he came out and he can't speak properly.
Yeah, there are cases like that.
But I don't know if you know him. He's an English boxer. He's black, but when he speaks very softly.
I don't know about that, but I know that there are lots of cases like this. There were cases when people were knocked out, then they just died.
Yeah.
They didn't stand up. There were cases like that, of course. And even if you don't get an injury, like in long term, you will feel a big difference, a big change in the way you're thinking, in the way your brain won't be the same as before you started doing it.
But because I think there was it was a recording and it was years later and he met the man that he injured. Obviously it wasn't on purpose, it was a game.
Yeah.
It was literally one punch. And he said to him, the guy that was injured, he said to him, I forgive you, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the other boxer started crying because obviously that one punch completely changed someone's life.
Of course.
And he had to live with that, Of
course.
So, but you knowing all of this and you still had a passion for boxing, did it not ever scare you?
No.
He just said no. He said, no, I have no fear.
Because I wasn't doing professional boxing. Mm-hmm. It was just for my health only. Yeah, I had a passion and I was enjoying it, and I wasn't scared at all because I wasn't doing it professionally. It was more like about the training process, about exercising. It has a lot of calisthenics in boxing, body weight workout, and shadow boxing technique, discipline. We had once in a week sparrings, but it wasn't hard. It was 50% of your power, and it wasn't you could get any injury. So that's why I wasn't scared of getting injured.
So you would never do it professionally, no matter how much you love it? No.
I would no.
No.
I don't.
You're just I'm gonna make the smart decision here.
Well, personally, I don't. For some people, it might be the case, but for me, it's not. I don't see myself as a professional boxer or any sportsman in the future.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Let's do some closing thoughts.
Yeah.
What are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts
Yeah.
about sports.
Yeah, sports, exercise, how it affects you.
It's a great opportunity to grow as a person and to be healthy, but you have to be careful with the injuries and don't stress yourself out because your parents said it's a good thing.
Do it.
Try
Or
different.
pressure.
Yeah, try different things. Try to do boxing. Try to do swimming. Try to do tennis or football, anything, and see what you like more. That's it.
Okay, for me, I feel like I just want to say that after I hurt my back a little bit, I did not work on my back for about a week.
Yeah.
I gave that a break. So I didn't push through it because I think when you push through with exercise and sports, that's when you can take it too far and injure yourself.
Yeah.
I think everything you do in your life, you should do moderately, including the food that you eat. But for me, exercise and sports, it wasn't a passion as it was for you. It was more like me putting routine in order to be able to find a balance in my life as well. Does that make sense? I'm a very busy person, but the gym is something that I will appreciate. I do appreciate and I won't skip because it gives me that order. And I also do feel guilty if I don't go.
Yeah.
And it's like the rush you get after working out is so worth it.
Of course.
That's it for me. So thank you for taking part in this conversation.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you guys for listening and stay tuned for our next episode.
Do the sports kids.